Have you not been paid, not gotten your dentisting money because of the healthcare exchange cyber attack? I'm here with Shelly of All Star Dental Academy, mastery coach, amazing sponsor. And Shelly is going to tell us about that. One thing I know, Shelly, dental practices do not like not getting paid. We
I
craft our work. We sweat on the outside, we cry on the inside, and we want to get paid. So before we jump into the healthcare exchange cyber attack, just tell our audience, what do you do every day to help dentists survive, thrive, and not cry?
every day
Yeah.
we're constantly taking a look at what's causing you frustrations. I mean, that's part of our fun part of being a coach is we can step back and take a look. We've all been in it. Every one of our mastery coaches has been in the dental field to some capacity. We get it. We can relate to it. We're here to help you to overcome some of those frustrations out of learning from other people's mistakes. Try to avoid those mistakes so that we don't have to do them again. So that's one of the things that I get to do every day, along with helping run All Star Dental Academy, where we have online memberships and all of that,
Hey,
and events and all the fun stuff. But ultimately, we want to relieve the pain points. We want to make them go away or minimize if at all possible. So
awesome. Well, if you're watching this before the event, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You can go to the event. If you're watching this after the event, get a DeLorean from Back to the Future, travel back in time, and go to the event. I just joking, but
no,
I'm
you
so
can get a recording now. We're
oh,
recording
nice.
it.
Tell
Yeah.
us, I am going to be at the event, honored to speak. Just tell our audience, in case they don't know about it, what's going to happen. When is this event? What's going to happen? Can they still get tickets?
So we are technically sold out. If you reach out to me today, I'll see what I can do. But as of actually
Awesome.
yesterday, we just sent the email. We're pretty much sold out, but it is in Fort Lauderdale, May 17th, 18th. It's going to be amazing. Practice Girl Summit. We have a lot of amazing speakers. You are one of those that we're very fortunate to have snagged and brought in. But all facets of dentistry, the latest and greatest. It's going to be fun. We're going to have awards. We're going to have a contest for some of the doctors, practice of the year awards. I mean, it's just going to be phenomenal. We're super excited
I
about it.
love that. C camaraderie, what we need more of
That's
connection.
right. And CE. Oh, Bing and CE.
Well, I want to dig into this spicy topping. I've heard about it through all the things that I do, but I don't know as much about it. But dental offices currently are not getting paid the way they should be getting paid, and tell us why that is.
So there was the cyber attack on the healthcare exchange. And basically, what that meant, as far as a lot of dental offices, is that their electronic claims were not going through and they weren't getting to the insurance company's hands because of that cyber attack and the ransom that was out there. And so what we started seeing is accounts receivable going boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
up and up and up, collections tanking, doctors freaking out, office team members say, what am I supposed to do? I'm not being able to collect. And so we were like, okay, this is an issue. And at first we thought, okay, it was short lived. It's going to go away. People are going to bounce right back. That was February 21st.
Wow.
And so I still have offices trying to collect on some of their past due claims. And so that's where we were like, okay, we don't like seeing KPI numbers tanking. And so we're like, we need to fix this
And
because
I,
that's one
I
of the
want to
things we're trying.
share as we dig into this. I'm always trying to educate my audience from the most fundamental level, right? I live in Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. In the movie Philadelphia with Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington would say, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. So even though you live this every day, Shelly, let's say someone just bought a practice. What is an electronic claim? How does that help someone get paid? Walk my practice owner who knows nothing about submitting to insurance. What's the difference between an electronic claim and a paper claim?
All right. So a paper claim goes in the snail mail. It might get there a couple, 2, 3, 4 days later. And then somebody has to manually plug all the information in and then process for you to get paid. An electronic claim, you hit a button and it cyber sends on over, and XYZ insurance company has the claim in their hands and they can then choose to stall tactic their way past 30,
Yeah.
40, 50 days. No, but they have it in their hands and they can begin processing it and hopefully making payment according to the patient's benefits.
And I am not an office manager. I don't even play one on TV. I work with a great office manager. So even though you sometimes work shoulder to shoulder with someone, you literally have no idea how their job works. So
Mhm.
I will ask you, do you get paid faster when you submit claims electronically?
100%.
Is it
100%.
easier on the team to submit claims electronically.
100%.
So we've helped our audience with that,
Yes.
snail mail, slower pay,
Yep.
electronic claims. Now we have this cyber attack. So these electronic claims are going and they're just not getting paid yet.
They're just going into cyberspace. They're just kind of sitting there in this ransom, whatever. I'm not sure where they went, but they did not go to the insurance companies.
And what I want to bring up next is to help our audience. When I was younger, I thought, oh, dental offices, they must have so much extra money, right? And why is it so challenged? So whether an office is collecting $150,000 a month, if they miss out on $50,000 a month, what kind of chaos and stress and actual crisis does that cause for the office?
I mean, depends on what their overhead is, but my guess is if they're collecting 150,000 producing that, their overhead is also right up there along with it. And that's I mean, I see a lot of the different posts on there. I know a lot of you doctors are struggling with that. Like, I'm working my tail off and I'm barely breaking even. And that's because your overhead is so high. And so it's not, and a lot of teams will say, oh, well, you still collected 50 grand, but my expenses were 80,
And
90.
what I think everyone should do, Shelly, is learn more about each other's jobs, have more compassion for each other. Because COVID, I always say that being a dentist is financially stable. It doesn't mean that you become a gazillionaire, but you don't necessarily think, oh man, how can I pay my supply bills? How can I pay my team? There are times where my brother and I might have not taken anything from payroll, but that's rare, right?
Right.
However, something happened in March of 2020 that was very scary
Mhm.
because when they said, hey, in New Jersey, you can't be a dentist for the next 2 months, practices can easily have $150,000 a month of expenses. And even if they're bringing in 200 and that dentist is earning 600, they still got to pay the 150. So
Right.
this isn't COVID, but this is a challenge because your practices, they're freaking out because they might not be able to make payroll if they don't get paid. Is that
Right.
accurate?
Yeah, absolutely 100% accurate. I mean, you should really be accounting for 98% of your production each month with regards to either adjustments and or hopefully collections.
Yeah.
And so what I'm seeing is now it's like 40, 50% being accounted for because nothing's being written off in the offices that are still in network and nothing's being collected. And so now what? Now
Yeah,
where's
and
all of that
it
going?
could
So
cause just, extreme anxiety in the whole entire practice. So you guys
absolutely.
have done something to help. You've created a resource. So if
Correct.
someone's watching this and saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm in this boat. I don't know what's happening in my claims." You were telling me if they start sending paper claims, that's not necessarily the answer, right? Because that's
Mhm.
getting backed up too.
Right. Well, it is, but for some offices that was and still may be, if they haven't switched clearinghouses, their only option. So that is in the ebook. Like, that's an option. I
Yeah.
would suggest calling them and getting a fax number and getting a hold of a rep and emailing them in or something so
Like
that
it's
you're
the
getting in
olden
there
days.
faster.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
Uh,
You're back in the olden days. It's like
Everybody, you
we're
shouldn't
little,
technology shame. You want to know why? Because fax used to be cool and
right.
now it's old school. And something we're
Right.
doing right now, my kids are going to make fun of me for something old school that we think is cool right now. But in this ebook, if someone gets it, we're going to put it in the comments. People can text attack to 215-543-6454 to get it. What are they going to learn in this ebook?
So there are some different strategies for getting the claims in their hands, but what we're really focusing on is how are you making sure to be collecting from your patients as much as
Yeah.
possible. A lot of offices don't even collect copays. We've got to get away from that, whether the cyber tech is there or not. This gives you some resources for that. So those of you that weren't impacted there, but your teams aren't collecting your copays at the time of service, this ebook will help you. It also has some different tactics on past due accounts, how to start collecting on those when your accounts start hitting that 60, 90 plus days. What happens once they hit 90? The chances of collecting are very, very slim. So we have some preventative measures in there that our coaches have kind of culminated and put together some different verbiage,
It's
tactics.
so key. It's probably things, what's interesting is when a crisis or challenge happens, whether it's COVID or this attack, you learn things that you probably should have been doing anyway without the crisis, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm proud to say at this point, our offices are totally out of network, but I wasn't always that way. And
Mhm.
I, joined my dad's practice in 2004, and they had a lot of old school systems. And you can tell me what you think of this. We had an in-office endodontist, and endo traditionally is covered 80%. So back in the day, if the root canal was $1,000, my team, because we didn't train them how to talk about money, would say, "Oh, Shelly, it's $200." because it's 80% insurance, 200. So they just said, oh, Shelly, give us $200. But our endodontist said, you guys should stop doing this. What you should say is, it's $1,000 for your root canal.
Hmm.
Your portion's 200. The insurance is 800. That was just blew our minds, right?
Yep.
And
That's in here. That's in this
yeah,
book because some people still do exactly what you just said.
yeah,
They don't
because he
put the
said they don't
value.
do it. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's in there.
So I love that. So you came on to chat about this cyber attack, which I'm
Mm,
glad you did, and you're giving resources. But if we
yeah.
just pull back for a few minutes and let my audience know about the awesomeness of All Star Dental Academy, you guys are an awesome sponsor. We have stuff on phones. Why should someone take the first step to connect with you? What's their pain point and how can they solve it?
I mean, honestly, we try to be a resource all the way across. I've been told, oh my gosh, you guys are all over nachos. And it's like because we have so much fun and we have so
Yeah.
much exciting things to share. And I mean, I was an office manager for a long time. Cheyenne, who's on here all the time, she's been an office manager. We know what it's like to help run a practice and the resources that are so valuable. So getting those out there, those phones, that's your number one.
Yeah.
If you're not converting on the phone, you might as well, number one, not spend money on marketing,
Yeah.
right? You can get the best marketer ever. You can have any one of the marketing companies out there driving your phone ringing. If your team's not answering it and answering it well, you might as well not spend those dollars. And so just things like that. And it's in an ethical approach. Everything we do is about taking care of your patient. And ultimately, we truly believe if you take care of your patients, the patients take care of the numbers with regards to your production, your collections, all of that. So the focus is always on them and it works. So
I love that. I mean, you guys give so many awesome resources. Tell me, as someone, you guys have been a sponsor recently, but seen the group longer than that. What do you guys learn from being in the Nacho group? Is there anything that you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened so much, or I never thought of it this way? I describe it kind of like, Nachos as a Google for dentists or a Reddit for dentists, more of a Reddit, where we're kind of talking about all these things. Anything that comes up that you're like, oh man, I didn't know that happened to dentists.
yeah, well, this is one of them
Yeah.
actually to some extent. And it was funny because Cheyenne and I, we're on there a lot. And Alex, I'll throw him a bone. He's our CEO. He had no idea. And we're telling him, no, doctors need this. And he would admit this. He said, I didn't think that they needed it. And we started putting this out there and it's all of you guys need it and want it. And so I said, this is something that we hear on social media and
Yeah.
on places like Nachos and doctors asking for help. And it's so great to see those different posts, not because you're suffering, but
Yeah.
because now we know what we need to provide to be able to support you guys, whether it be from just our online membership and things like that or coaching. It just helps to continue to develop. A lot of the things stay the same, but different situations cause for different things, just like this ebook.
I
So,
love that. I mean, Nachos is designed to be this giant community that hopefully wraps their arms around the dental community, like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. But just
mhm,
like Mr. Rogers, we had a little train go by, you stop off at different places and find your own sub communities. And I mean,
yes.
from the all-star style groups, they're just magical because they create camaraderie amongst a smaller group of people who
Mhm,
are learning things together, right? Moving forward together. I think I always say Nachos is always be connecting to feel less alone. I actually
mhm,
they believe feeling alone is just one of the worst feelings. Feel
right.
like I don't have enough money, feel like I'm not in shape, feeling alone, that's the worst one. And I think it's very easy to feel alone as a dentist and team. And this is why I'm so excited to see these people at your event, because my assumption is many of them are seeing each other face to face for the first time,
Mhm.
even though they've
I'm
been
meeting some of
together.
my coaching clients for the first
Yeah.
time in person, and I've known them for years. It's just amazing. I love it. I love and the sponsors too. And we have some different sponsors who are also sponsors here on Nachos that will be there and including yourselves, obviously. But it's great. It's a great community. It's great to have that face-to-face interaction. I love that you push and talk a lot about events because
Yeah.
there's nothing like it. I mean, I've been the team member who was pulled across the country and taken
Yeah.
thinking, why am I going to this? And then you get there and it's just like a light bulb in the team camaraderie and everybody coming together and saying, yep, we're not alone. There's this other office manager over there. She's struggling too.
Yeah,
Help
that's how
each
everyone
other
feels
out.
when you're bonded together by your
Mhm.
complaints and challenges. And I also share this, we can talk about this more in a future podcast, but what I'll share is one of the values, if you're listening and you're a spouse of a dentist, or a family member of a dentist, I think that something happens in that dentistry is so intense, right? We call stress intensity. I was in my practice on Tuesday. It's an intense thing, right? People don't want to be there. They don't want to pay for it. They got chewing problems. And if you bring your problems home to your home and your family's not in dentistry, which most of them are not,
Right.
it's just hard to understand, right? And I think that it can create, I don't want to call it family dysfunction. I'm not a therapist, but like go to these events where you can celebrate together, but
Right.
also complain together. And people go, oh, yeah, I get that. Right. Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yes.
I'm sure office managers, people say, you're an office manager. You get to be in this little room away from everybody all day long. That must be so easy for you. And they say, live a day in my phone when someone goes, someone's on the phone for you to yell
Right.
again. Who's
Yep.
here to yell again? So love what you
Exactly.
guys are doing, Shelly. If someone wanted to reach out to you to learn more about All Star, people can text attack to 215-543-6454. We'll send them this ebook. But if they just want to reach out to you to ask anything about All Star, how could they do that?
Yeah, they can reach out to Heather. She's our VP of training. That's Heather, Heather, at allstardentalacademy.com, or to myself, Shelly, Shelly, at allstardentalacademy.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for helping our community. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.